Okay. Yay, here we are, we're up and running. So, our trip to Urbino this summer takes place from June 29th to July 24th. Do you want to drive or you want me to?
Oh, yeah, this is
Thank you. And this is the beautiful city in which you'll be staying. Actually, the city is a walled city, and the dorms, if you can imagine, are right outside, and then the town is just up a little hill over here. And Professor Bartolucci actually owns a farm on the other side there. So, you know, we keep everything kind of in the family. It's a lovely, calm, tranquil place. You can keep going. It's a Renaissance town, and these are just an idea of some of the buildings. I'm going to kind of skim through it and make this like a 10-minute presentation, so you'll have time for questions and we can talk about the classes. But if anything comes to mind that you would like to ask, at the end we'll address anything and everything that you wish. Next. I guess you can't really see these pictures. No, you can't see the pictures very, very well, I guess, because of the lighting. But these are the dorms. The dorms were built like in the 1950s and 60s, and they are incredible. They are built into the side of a hill. And each student gets to have their own private bedroom, and you're sharing a bathroom, and you're sharing a quad. And what's really neat about the experience is we're at an Italian university with Italian students and students from all over the world. So you're getting to practice the Italian that you learned before we leave and apply it amongst the people that you're hanging out with. And when you go, thank you. And when you go to the shops and everything in town, you're using those very same skills to negotiate and to buy your fruits and vegetables. And you're just, you know, you learn a language and you learn geology and you're going to learn Western civilization, but you're also going to learn so much about yourself and your abilities, and you're going to become these really independent world travelers. Like Liz was saying, there's that before study abroad and after study abroad. Study abroad is kind of like the zero on your timeline. So if you keep going ahead for us, please. These are just some of your daily images. Gelato is very much a part of your life, as is the euro, and the exchange rate right now is pretty favorable. So that'll work to your advantage. At the top of the hill in Urbino, again, small town, there's a fort, and while we're there, there are medieval reenactments, Renaissance reenactments and stuff. So you get to see history come alive. The weather is beautiful, as you can tell. The only thing that you really need to be concerned with are the hills. You are going to come back with some seriously healthy calf and thigh muscles. You're going to love life. And while you're there, you're going to meet other university. That's okay. You're going to meet other university students, not only from Italy, but there's groups from Rutgers, from Tennessee, from all different places in the United States that also get to study abroad. And we are the envy of those groups because our group from Broward College gets to have all these really great personal experiences. We visit towns that are close by, and then each time we travel, we get just a little bit further away. You will learn how to travel by train and by bus, use public transportation, because you have a free weekend where you get to plan your trip and go on your own in the sense with the people in the group. But for the most part, we, the instructors, myself and Professor Bartolucci and Professor Cornejo, will be taking you to towns in this area. So we're going to be staying in the Marche region. We travel to San Marino, we travel, here. There you go. We are in Urbino. We travel all around the Marche region. You have a beach that's like a half an hour away by bus for your free afternoons. And then you have all these other wonderful cities that you could visit on the weekends. Most of the time the students will hop a train and go to Venice, or sometimes they'll go over to Cinque Terre, or if you have some relatives down south, you can choose to visit them. But at the end of our study experience, we take you to Firenze, to Florence, where you will, walk in the paths of Dante, or you're going to go to Ravenna too, for that matter. You'll walk in the paths of the great artists and the great literary geniuses that you've studied. And then we go on to Rome, where you just feel history, just like seep from up from your feet and into your heart. That's all I can say about it. It just really is an all-encompassing experience. What else did I want to tell you? Oh, and all these excursions that I'm talking about, they are included in the trip, with the exception of your free weekend. These are things that are covered in the price of the trip. And there's a list down here at the bottom of places that we'll visit together as a group. A couple of the important things I want to mention with regard to traveling is as soon as we get there, 2 days into the trip, as a group, we take the public bus and we go to a town nearby called Urbania. So now you know how to purchase your bus ticket and figure out the bus schedule and travel by bus. 3 days later, we take you to Bologna by train. So now as a group, you've learned how to use the train system. And when you have that extra time, you don't feel intimidated, you don't feel scared, and you travel as a group and you go to these places. Furthermore, before we've left for Italy, you've already started your courses. And so you're halfway into your courses, you've got the Italian basis from my part, and you've learned about the areas that we're visiting, you've learned about the culture and the history, so really you kind of feel at home when you get there. And as if, you know, the whole time that we're in paradise were not enough, at the end, as I mentioned, we are going to go to Florence and Rome, and there we stay in 4-star hotels. Breakfast is included. So there's a slide later on that tells you everything that's included and what's not included, but to give you an idea, when we are in the town of Urbino, you have 3 meals a day, and we're talking meals with a capital M. You're going to go to the cafeteria with a capital C, and you will have your pasta, you'll have your meat and your vegetables, and you'll have your fruit, your dessert, even breakfast, you're going to have your cappuccino, unlimited, your yogurt, your fruit. You're going to be eating Italian style, and it's all fresh, healthy food. I'm telling you, you're just going to be reborn. Okay. And the whole time that you're there, the whole time that you're there, if you need travel advice or you need help with anything, you have 3 people who are very well-traveled, well-versed in the area. You have nothing to fear. These are some pictures from people who have been on the trip before. And I like to point out that one of the things that you're going to do both for the geology and the Italian component, and possibly even for the history component, is you're going to become the master for one of the places that we visit. You're going to become the tour guide, if you will. You're going to prepare a presentation. And these are students who, you know, may have never even seen where Ravenna was on the map, and suddenly he's instructing the group, and it means so much more to the other people that you're with when you are the person teaching them, when they're learning from one of their peers, and it empowers you. So for each of the cities, somebody does a presentation before we go, or sorry, once we're there, and that's one of the graded components of the courses. And we go into caves, and we visit all kinds of geological formations, dunes, I'm not going to steal Professor Marcucci's thunder. He'll tell us all about what we're going to visit on his end. Okay, on. So here's a long list of things that you might want to remember, but if you go on the website, you'll see them all. First and foremost, full payment is due by the deadline. And if you're wondering what full payment is, you're about to find out. But keep in mind that you can ask for it in the form of Christmas presents, Hanukkah presents, you can wash cars, you can approach your local, community organizations and so on and so forth. Tuition is not included, passport is not included, and we'd like to see proof of your passport or that you applied for your passport when you applied for the trip. Health insurance will be included. You need to have good mobility, and we'll also give you an Italian cell phone. You are required to travel with a group as we go over, but if you have family or plan to stay at the end, we can discuss that on a one-on-one basis, but typically it's preferred that you travel with the group. And we typically travel TAP Airlines, so we'll have a stopover in Portugal and then head right to Bologna, where the chartered bus picks us up, and all of your transportation is included. Chartered bus picks us up, takes us to the dorm, and whenever we go on field trips, other than the 2 that I mentioned that are public transportation, we have the same chartered bus. Avanti. Okay, and I'm about to ask you, how much would you expect to pay for this? So you get all your room and board in Urbino, you get your round trip airfare, your excursions, your Italian cell phone, your health insurance, for how much? How much?
35.
Vai avanti. You get it all for $3,600. And it's a great deal. Seriously, if you compare this to other schools for the amount of trips and everything that's included, or if you even go ahead and price this a la carte, you'll find out that the deal you have here is extraordinary. And now that I'm hearing the other presentations, you can even kind of combine it, go someplace at spring break and then come with us to Italy over the summer. And I have a payment schedule here for you guys to break it down, but it is.
Oh, I lived in Brescia.
Oh.
Yeah. That sounds definitely good. I was just listening, I was like, oh my god, Italy. Because you do fall in love with it as a second one.
Yeah. And I could name like 15 different situations, but I'll just name 2 or 3 where people came back in July with us, and they were posting pictures that they were back there at Thanksgiving. Like, you just can't sever the tie. It's like a tether. You're going to keep going back and forth because that's what it is. It steals your heart. Yeah.
Leo told me that he wants to live in Italy once he finishes his degree.
There you go. Valerio, tell us about your course.
Italy is a very dangerous place because it's easy to fall in love with. Brescia is a beautiful, it's a very industrial city, but downtown it's absolutely magic. It's a little jewel, and some of the best restaurants where I actually went. And I didn't pay because at the time I was working with industries around that they were always inviting me. Anyway, the physical geology classes have been always brought to Italy for a very easy reason. Urbino, again, which is in the middle of nowhere, is the land of a little dark strata where a Berkeley professor, which I met while he was doing this study, used to develop what is now the theory of the disappearance of dinosaurs. It's a little strata which is particularly rich in iridium, and this iridium is the proof that at a certain period of time the Earth was hit by a huge meteorite rich in this element, and from there the whole story of this mystery came out, and now it's universally accepted as a foundation of the disappearance of dinosaurs. So, but this is not the real reason why we go there, and not even for what Domenica said. The real reason why we go there is because historically Broward College had already ties with the University of Urbino. This program is new, but it's based on an old program that was already there in place for several years, has been always successful. We just made it more successful and more appealing. My class over there is going to be easy, because whatever we learn, just like Italian, whatever we learn during the first part of our classes, during the lectures, we are going to apply them directly on the spot, and you're going to see the iridium strata, you're going to see all the little globular talia present in the rocks. You're going to watch it with your microscope, and you're going to be part of the history, of the geological history of that area. Not only, I come from that area. As she said, I have a farm there, but because my father was originated from there. So I know the area in every corner of the place. We're gonna, can you go back?
That way?
Yes, backward, a little more.
That's forward.
One more, this. We're gonna see some places, Urbania, Frasassi, Fontavellana, which don't mean anything to you. You've never heard of any of those places. But each one of those is gonna be an amazing, surprising event. It's something we don't give out before the trip. We are bounded by, how do you call it?
Vow of secrecy.
Secrecy. We're not going to tell you what you're going to find in those places. But just because we want to see your faces when you are there, and see how much you're going to like it. Geologically speaking, Italian speaking, historically speaking, it will be a nice surprise.
Professor Cornejo.
Good afternoon. My name is Edward Cornejo. I teach history down at South Campus. And the course that this one is associated with is EUH 1000, which covers everything from Persia to the Renaissance. So when Domenica and Valerio approached me over, I guess, towards the end of the summer, it was through Facebook, because Derivium was stalking me. And she realized that I had taken a few students, about 8 students, to Greece and to Italy over the summer. And that was through EF, and it was an amazing experience. I do not speak, I'm not a native Italian. I actually speak ancient Latin, believe it or not. I can actually have a conversation in it. I studied ancient Greek and all that other stuff. So for me, however, this would be the 5th time I go to Italy, and they're absolutely right about falling in love with Italy. It is, I feel very much at home there. When I get to the Vatican for for a past life experience. I feel very much at home. I've eaten at the restaurants that the bishops and the Swiss guards have eaten. I know I have classmates who have studied there. It is just an incredible place. But Western Civilization, EUH 1000, is a course for which this particular program is specifically designed. Not only will we be studying Roman history, Greek history, Renaissance history, medieval history, etc., but we're actually going to be walking through the very same streets that Cicero walked, or the very same spot Julius Caesar was assassinated. We're going to be hearing the same sounds, we're going to be smelling the same smells, well, not in Rome, but we're going to be actually in the same spots that all these great, amazing people and events have actually occurred. Dewadi, who's sitting here, she was not one of the students that went with me over the summer, but she has had me for 3 courses already, and so she's interested in going to this one, and she knows how I teach. I'm not a lecturer, I am a Socratic professor, for lack of a better word. I am into talking things out, discussing things out, participating, it's full immersion into what this is going to be: Italian culture, Italian history. I will be teaching at the very beginning of the semester. I'll be teaching some basic Greek, some ancient Greek. Homeric Greek is what we call it, and then once we're there and during the trip, I'll be teaching a little bit of the Latin so that you can at least read some of the buildings, some of the plaques, some of the stuff that's going on. When we finally get to Florence, which is probably the peak of the entire trip, it's where we get to meet face to face with the Renaissance, and we walk the same streets as Galileo and Da Vinci and Dante and all that other stuff. I cannot imagine how much more. I mean, I love the other trips, but this one calls home to me. And I think Valerio and Domenica hit it right on the spot. Once you're in Italy, once you fall in love, and that's that. Okay, thank you.
I have some really fast closing slides. Okay, keep going, and, all right, well, yeah, this won't go. Information, go back 1 slide, please. Okay, so what you need to bring for this experience is pretty much your, 1 suitcase, actually, that's what I really wanted to stress. 1 suitcase, because you can't take any more than that, and because every place is uphill. Even once you go downhill, the next thing is up. So you're carrying all your own stuff, and stairs. It's hills and stairs, hills and stairs. An adapter, and then comfortable shoes. We'll talk about this so much more. Not new shoes, not wedges, not heels. Comfortable. Next one. And then our information, which we'll share with you on the website. It's not even complete here. Last. And these are views. I mean, this is from the dorm rooms. This is what you see at 9 p.m. every night looking out your dorm room. That. Okay? And to me, that's worth everything. Okay, and anything else? So, that's it. Okay. Any last minute questions? Okay, I'll take my applause.